Okay, so you know how it is, right? You're bombarded with information all the time,
Right.
and it's like, where do you even start?
Right.
Well, you're here with us.
Mm,
So, we like to cut through all that noise and dive deep into stuff that matters.
absolutely.
And today we are going deep on Malaysia.
Woo, interesting.
Yeah, we've got a whole stack of articles and analyses all about this idea of deep sea mining and what it could mean for Malaysia's economy, their tech scene, the whole thing.
Okay, I'm intrigued already.
Right. So we're going to try to pull out the really key insights, like the stuff that makes you go, whoa, I didn't realize that.
I love those moments.
Right. For example, did you know that deep sea minerals might actually be a better bet in the long run than like all that petroleum they've been pulling out of the ground?
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about the robots that could make this whole thing happen. It's like a sci-fi movie down there.
All right, let's unpack this.
Yeah. So first off, it's clear that this isn't just about Malaysia finding a new way to get some resources.
Yeah.
This is like a potential turning point for their whole country.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, the stuff we've been reading, it's pointing to major economic growth and them becoming a tech leader.
Oh, wow.
One thing that really jumps out is how this could help Malaysia diversify their economy. Like right now, they're relying on the same old resources a lot of countries do.
Right.
But deep sea mining, it's like a chance to branch out big time
Mm.
and have more control over what they need. Resource security, you know?
That's a good point.
Yeah, so we're talking about these things called polymetallic nodules. Have you heard of these?
Vaguely.
Okay, so imagine these like concentrated deposits just sitting on the ocean floor, and they're full of metals that we need for all the green tech stuff, like nickel and cobalt for batteries, copper for all the wiring in electric cars, manganese, and even those rare earth elements everyone's after.
So basically the ingredients for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And think about it. The whole world is shifting towards sustainable energy
Yeah.
and all these advanced electronics, right?
Right.
So the demand for these metals, it's only going to go up. So if Malaysia can get access to all that stuff, maybe even within their own economic zone,
Hmm.
it gives them a huge advantage.
Yeah, they'd be in the driver's seat for sure.
Now get this. Some of the analysis we've seen suggests that in the long haul, the money they could make from deep sea mining might actually be bigger than what they've been getting from their whole petroleum industry.
Really? Wow, that's a game changer.
Yeah, I know, right? A whole new revenue stream. And what's wild is it's not just about like scooping stuff up from the seabed.
Right, there's got to be more to it.
Exactly. The sources are all saying that Malaysia could become a leader in the tech side of this, a hub, for building the robots that do the actual mining.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they've already got a growing tech sector. They're ambitious about advanced manufacturing. So this seems like a natural next step.
Totally. It's not just about the resources themselves, it's about all the tech that goes into getting them.
Right. We're talking super advanced robots that can basically operate on their own down in these crazy extreme environments.
The engineering involved in that must be mind-blowing.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine robots navigating the deep ocean using AI to pinpoint the best spots for mining. It's like something out of a movie.
I know, right? It's fascinating.
One article even compared it to what Tesla's doing with self-driving cars and AI,
Yeah.
saying there's a similar potential to totally revolutionize how we get minerals.
Interesting analogy.
Yeah, and they said Malaysia could be right at the forefront of that.
So what are their strengths that could really play into this?
Well, they're already strong in automation sensor technology and even marine engineering to some extent.
Right, those are all key for deep-sea robotics.
Exactly. And of course, none of this works without people, right? So talent development is huge. There's going to need a whole skilled workforce to build, operate, and maintain all these complicated underwater systems.
Absolutely. You need engineers, technicians, data scientists, people who really understand this stuff.
Yeah, the sources talked about how this could lead to all these new education programs, research grants, partnerships between universities and companies. It's exciting.
Definitely sounds like a boost for their whole tech ecosystem.
Right. And it's not just about training people. It's about encouraging Malaysian companies and startups to innovate. Like imagine them developing cutting-edge autonomous underwater vehicles or figuring out more sustainable ways to extract the minerals.
That would be huge, creating whole new industries right there.
Exactly. And here's a cool thing. Malaysia already has a pretty good starting point. They've got a lot of well-established maritime infrastructure, especially ports like Port Klang was mentioned specifically.
Oh, yeah, that makes a big difference.
Right? They can use all that to support deep-sea mining operations, which means they don't have to start from scratch building everything new.
Saves them a ton of time and money up front.
Exactly. So big potential benefits, but the sources also made it clear there are some really important steps Malaysia needs to take to make this happen.
Right, like what?
One that came up a lot was engaging with the ISA proactively, the International Seabed Authority.
Ah, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're the ones who set the rules for anything related to minerals on the seabed in international waters.
So Malaysia needs to be on good terms with them.
Absolutely. They can understand the regulations, be part of the conversations, and ultimately get the right licenses and permits.
Of course.
And along with all that international stuff, they need a really clear national strategy at home,
Can't just wing it.
right? It can't just be an idea. They need a concrete plan.
Yeah.
What do you think would have to be in that plan?
Well, I'd say they need to lay out their goals for deep sea mining. How they're going to do it responsibly, the roles of different government agencies, how they'll get the private sector involved, research institutions, a timeline, the whole shebang.
Yeah, a unified approach makes sense.
Definitely.
Another thing that kept popping up research and development, they got to really understand the deep sea environment, the potential impacts of mining, the best ways to extract the minerals sustainably.
Yeah. Can't just go down there blindly.
Right. They need to be smart about it.
Yeah.
And it also sounds like teaming up with other countries or companies that already have some experience in deep sea mining could be a good idea.
Learn from the pros.
Yeah. Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
Right. Plus, they could pick up some valuable insights and avoid making mistakes.
Exactly.
And one last thing that stood out, they need to come up with specific national rules for deep sea mining to make sure it's done responsibly.
Ah, yeah, regulatory framework.
Exactly. Clear rules and guidelines so everyone knows what's allowed and what's not.
Protects the environment, makes things fair for everyone.
Right. So when you look at it, Malaysia's actually in a pretty good spot to do this. They've got the infrastructure, they've got growing tech expertise, and they've said they're committed to sustainable development. So they could be a model for how to do this the right way.
Yeah, they've got a lot going for them.
It all comes back to that idea of them becoming a hub for deep sea robotic mining technologies, which could totally transform their economy, give them more resource security in the long run than oil and gas ever could, and they can develop their own people and encourage all kinds of innovation.
It's a really compelling vision.
Yeah. And the focus on sustainability, that's huge.
Yeah.
If they could be a leader in environmentally responsible deep sea mining, that's good for their reputation, and it gives them a big advantage as the world gets more and more concerned about how we get our resources.
Definitely agree.
So to sum it all up for you, listener, deep sea mining, it's not just some futuristic fantasy. It's a real opportunity for Malaysia, and it lines up perfectly with what's happening in the world right now, the shift towards green tech needing all these new minerals.
Right, it's all connected.
And Malaysia has what it takes to make it happen. They could see a huge economic boost, become a leader in robotics train, a whole new generation of tech experts, and really drive innovation across the board.
Not to mention the potential for long-term economic stability that could rival or even surpass what they've seen from oil and gas.
Exactly. But they've got to be proactive, strategic, and invest in the right areas. And of course, they have to be committed to doing this in a way that protects the environment.
Couldn't agree more.
So here's something to think about. Given all of Malaysia's strengths and this global move towards green tech, what other industries, maybe ones we haven't even thought of yet, could have this kind of transformative potential for them?
That's a good question.
And as we head into this new frontier of deep sea mining, what do you think are the most important partnerships we need to form internationally? And what are the ethical things we really need to consider as we go deeper and deeper into these uncharted waters?
Yeah, lots to ponder there.
Some serious food for thought. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
My pleasure.
Until next time.